Hello students. In our previous class we have discussed about minor. So we are discussing about the persons who are incompetent to enter into contract or agreement, and if they enter into contract or agreement, that agreement will be void ab initio, void from the beginning and not enforceable by law. Now who are the second category of people who are incompetent to contract? Persons of unsound mind. Now, Section 11 of Indian Contract Act says that for a valid contract, each party to the contract must have a sound mind. So, a person who is of sound mind, he is capable of entering into contract or agreement. If the person of unsound mind enters into contract or agreement, that agreement will be void, not enforceable by law. So if if the contracts are made by such persons of unsound mind, such contracts are void. Now, who are persons of unsound mind? Section 12 of Indian Contract Act deals with persons of unsound mind. Now, Section 12 says that a person who is usually of unsound mind but occasionally of sound mind may make a contract when he is of sound mind. Now, what does it mean by this? A person who is usually of sound mind, he is a person who does not have sound mind. So, he is an idiot person, or he is a lunatic person, mad person. In short, it is he is an idiot or mad person. Such a person who does not know what he is doing, whether it is correct or wrong, whether it is profitable for him or it will be a loss for him. Such a person, he is unable to judge what is good or bad for him. A person who is usually of unsound mind, he is insane person, but sometimes he becomes a person of sound mind, and if he makes a contract when he is of sound mind, that contract is valid contract. So there will be some persons who are mad or who are insane persons, but there will be intervals of sanity. Sometimes they become a person of sound mind, and if they make a contract during that time, that contract is valid. Thus, a patient who is in a lunatic asylum means mental hospital, who is at intervals of sound mind. So sometimes that person becomes a person of sound mind. So it happens in case of such persons. And if he makes a contract during that interval of sanity, the contract will be valid, and that is a correct enforceable contract. Now, second point in that, a person who is usually of sound mind. He is a person who is a sane person, correct person, but occasionally of unsound mind. Sometimes he becomes a person of unsound mind and is not considered competent to make a contract when he is of unsound mind. So, a person who is usually of sound mind, a sane person, but occasionally, sometimes, because of something, he becomes a person of unsound mind. He makes a contract when he is of unsound mind. That contract is void, not enforceable by law. So, he is incompetent when he is of unsound mind. So, when a person who is a sound person becomes a person of unsound mind, example of this is a sane person, a sane man who is so drunk. The person is so drunk that he cannot understand the terms of contract. So person is heavily under the influence of intoxication. He is unable to understand what are the terms of the contract or what he is doing. In that case, such a person is incompetent to make a contract. Why? Till the drunkenness lasts. Till he is under the influence of that drink or that intoxication. Till that period, he is incompetent to make a contract. So, a man who is a sane person but he is heavily drunk. So, it is provided that in order to avoid the contract, the intoxication must be made against his wish. He does not know, but he does not know what he is drinking. Someone else has made him to consume that intoxication, and he is under the influence of that intoxication. Till that period, if he makes a contract, that contract is void, not enforceable by law. Now, Whether a party to a contract is of sound mind or of unsound mind, that is has to be decided by the court. So court decides whether at the time of the contract the person was of sound mind or unsound mind. On the basis of the evidence, court will take that decision. Unsoundness of mind does not mean weakness of mind. So there may be some people who are weak at mind. That does not mean unsoundness of mind is totally different from weakness of mind or loss of memory. Now, unsoundness of mind may arise from. So, what are the different ways in which a person becomes a person of unsound mind? So, first thing is idiocy. Now, what does it mean by idiocy? Who is an idiot? So, an idiot is a person whose mental powers of understanding even ordinary matters are absent because of lack of development of brain. So he is an idiot person. Idiocy arises because of lack of development of brain. So by birth, it is some defect in the person which is by birth, and because of the defect, because of underdevelopment of brain, lack of development of brain, that person is unable to understand ordinary matters also. Such person is called as an idiot. So, an agreement with an idiot is void, not enforceable by law. So, there was one person A, he entered into an agreement with one person B. In that agreement to sale, in that agreement, he agreed to sell his property, which is worth 2 lakh rupees for 2000 rupees to that person. In that case, his mother went to court and she proved that that person was congenital idiot. Congenital idiot means by birth he is idiot. There is a lack of development of brain of her son, and she proved it. And because of that, this sale, which was it was held void by the court. So that agreement should not be enforceable by law, and it was void because she proved that that person who agreed to sell the property just for 2000 rupees, which was worth 2 lakh rupees, he was idiot by birth. So, unsoundness of mind arises due to idiocy. So, second way how the insanity occurs, lunacy or insanity. Now, lunacy or insanity means what? So, it is a disease of the brain which happens due to some mental strain or disease. So it is something happens to the brain because of mental strain or because of some disease. So the by birth the person is not incompetent. So by birth he is a normal person, but afterwards because of mental strain or some disease he becomes a lunatic person or insane person. So such people sometimes they become a person of sound mind, sometimes they become a person of unsound mind. So these people will have intervals of sanity. During those intervals of sanity, if they enter into contract or agreement, that is valid contract. So there will be intervals of sanity, and such a contract will be enforceable by law if they enter during that intervals of sanity. Drunkenness. Next reason for unsoundness of mind is drunkenness. So drunkenness produces temporary incapacity. Till the person is under the influence of or under the effect of intoxication, during that period he is incapacitated or he is incompetent to enter into contract or agreement. So once he comes out of that intoxication, he is competent person, provided that that intoxicant must have induced to him, must have procured to him without his knowledge by someone else. Next incapacity or next reason for unsoundness of mind is hypnotism. So what is hypnotism? So hypnotism is it is a temporary incapacity of the person till that person is under the impact of artificially induced sleep. So hypnotism, some people give some instructions to the mind of the person and catch hold of mind of the person. That person does whatever has been told by the instructor. So it is temporary induced sleep, artificially induced sleep. It will be for temporary period. During that period, when he is under the influence of that person who is giving instructions, During that period, he is incompetent to enter into contract or agreement. Next reason for incompetence is mental decay. Now, mental decay means something happens due to old age. That is also known as dementia. So what happens due to old age? You may see that your grandparents at your house, so they may be telling what has happened during their college days, but they don't remember whether they have taken a tablet 1 hour before or not. So that is mental decay, which happens due to old age. That is also known as dementia. So an agreement with person of unsound mind is void. But we have already discussed about section 68. So what section 68 says that? So the property of that person is always liable for necessaries supplied to him. No doubt that person of unsound mind, when he enters into an agreement, that agreement is void, not enforceable by law. But under section 68, the property of that person is liable for necessaries supplied to that person. What comes under necessaries? That is food, shelter, clothing, medical treatment, education. These comes under necessaries. When one person supplies a person of unsound mind with necessaries, in that case, that person will not be liable. There is no personal liability. But that lunatics or idiots property will be liable for reimbursement to the person who has spent money for the necessaries. Thank you.